Right, welcome ladies and gents. Warner Brothers is going to be returning to the Super Bowl after a 17-year absence with the Flash trailer at the Super Bowl. Which, if you didn't know, adverts at the Super Bowl cost minimum about $7 million. Which you start to think about it, you're like, huh? Warner Brothers is going to spend more money on the Flash? It does actually make sense, and we'll sort of break it down and sort of talk about it. But the studio will also then premiere the trailer days later in front of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which doesn't make sense and is contrary to my explanation as to why Warner Brothers is choosing to spend more money on this film in the Super Bowl. So this is a huge deal. It's a huge deal that Warner Brothers is coming back to the Super Bowl after a 17-year absence. I mean, that's a long-ass absence. You know, like it's not a small thing. It's a pretty big deal that they're going to be doing this, especially for a film like The Flash, which Ezra Miller has had terrible, absolutely terrible PR. Utterly awful. Now you need to start to think about the justification behind this. You need to think about how a studio views you. A studio views the fans as a cash cow. They believe they already have your money. So, normally, they think that they can do whatever they want, and that's fine, and then they'll just try and get other people on board as well to maximise the money. That's why, more often than not, you see studios constantly breaking away from what has established the franchise to the fans and endeared it to the fans already. Now, why would Warner Brothers choose to spend more money on The Flash? Which the average, like I said, the average is about $7 million minimum for an advert at the Super Bowl. Well, it actually goes hand in hand with Ezra Miller's PR and currently Warner Brothers and DC and how they are held in fan regard. So, this is a case of Warner Brothers and DC, I believe, anyway, for the first part of this video, being well aware that they don't have the fans' money. Because you look at it and you go, why are you spending more money on this film? No one is interested in it. And they're acutely aware of this. They must be. You can't not be aware of the chatter online of your lead star videoed choke-slamming a woman in Iceland, of all the reports, all the countless reports of grooming activity and near cult-like sexual abuse and things like this, right? Like, it's insane. If anyone believes Warner Brothers is not aware of this, it's incredibly naive. They must be aware. So they know that they don't have the fans' money. So what they're trying to do here, I believe, is establish a new base from other people. So they're like, well, to at least try and salvage this film and get some word of mouth going, we'll spend, another, I don't know, $10 million on a trailer. Sure, whatever. Because at least we can then get some return on investment. Hopefully. So I believe firmly that this is a case of Warner Brothers being acutely aware that they don't have the fans' money. And as a result of that, they must push the film to the normies. What better location to do that than the Super Bowl? Incredible sums of eyes on that product. Absolutely incredible. I think they are well aware that no one wants to watch this film in terms of the fandom anyway. And obviously, yeah, sure, I get outliers want to watch it. I understand that. So I think this is just them basically going, yeah, no, we know the writing's on the wall. Let's scramble. Let's just try and get some money. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. You would just run the normal adverts. You wouldn't return after a 17-year absence. So Warner Brothers Discovery is making a big splash and returning to the Super Bowl after a 17-year absence with a promo for The Flash, the rappers exclusively learned. Super Bowl will take place on Sunday, February 12th, 2023, and the buzz on the film was so good that 5 days later, this is the part that doesn't make any sense to me, the superhero film will have its trailer in front of Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which opens in theatres on February 17th. This says to me that I guess they're thinking that maybe the buzz will be good enough that they can then sort of undercut Ant-Man. That they put the trailer there? That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, people can be comic book fans but not want to watch The Flash because you have the most incredibly unlikable lead star in Ezra Miller. The studio last appeared at the Super Bowl back in 2006 when promo spots for 16 Blocks, V for Vendetta and Poseidon aired throughout the big game. According to an insider with knowledge of the project, the film has been testing positively. It has. I've heard very good things about the test screenings. So starring Ezra Miller and inspired by Flashpoint, the film will see the Flash travel across various multiverses, encountering other versions of himself, as well as a version of Supergirl from an alternate timeline. And again, the thing is that 9 times out of 10 you'd be like, yeah, we've got the fans' money. But we know that everything's going to be rebooted anyway. We know Michael Keaton's out now, even though he's back, but he's out. So the main selling point of this film was the potential for Michael Keaton to become Batman again, even though we know now he's out. So there's no actual reason for people to watch this film. Which, again, they've done that to themselves. Most people are just like, no, I'm not happy with this. So I think this is going to be a case of, well, you know, we've got to get some money. We have to make some money from this film. So we'll pay $7-10 million, chuck it in front of millions of eyes, and just try and get some return on investment. Because this is the thing, you know, loads of headlines, troubling stuff, and then he's just like, oh, I've got complex mental health issues. That's why I'm a groomer. All right, mate. All right, bud. The Flash also recently made headlines as the cameo of Henry Cavill's Superman was recently removed from the ending of the film, as Cavill will no longer play the Man of Steel. So, literally, this film is a shit show. The fact that they're doing this is bizarre to me. But there you have it. I think that's the best way to explain it, to rationalise why you choose to spend more money on this film. They're just trying to get eyes on it. Outside of that, I don't really understand why they're putting the trailer in front of Ant-Man and the Wasp. Maybe they'll think there's a crossover, and maybe they think comic book fans are all the same, but they're not. So let me know what you guys think down below. Love to hear any and all of your thoughts. Curious to hear your takes.